Dear finance professionals and students, welcome to podcast of FCA Deepak Rao, a practicing chartered accountant. Weekly digest for week 4 of June 2025. India's June oil imports show a significant shift, with Russian oil surpassing combined Middle Eastern supplies due to discounted prices and geopolitical tensions. Amidst escalating conflict and threats to the Strait of Hormuz, India diversifies its sources, increasing imports from the US and building resilience through strategic reserves and flexible refining strategies to mitigate potential disruptions. HDB Financial Services initial public offering opens on June 25th and will be the largest IPO so far this year. While only a portion of the proceeds will go to the company, the offering signals a broader structural shift with the HDFC Group. With assets under management of Rs 1.07 lakh crore as of March 2025, HDB Financial ranks as the fourth largest retail-focused NBFC in India by gross loan book. The company serves 1.9 crore customers. Heightened tensions in West Asia pose a significant threat to India's LPG supply, with 2/3 of the cooking gas sourced from the region. While petrol and diesel supplies are secure due to India's export capacity, limited LPG storage and import dependence create vulnerability. Policymakers are focusing on vigilance and consumer protection amidst potential disruptions, with alternatives like electric cooking considered. Following unexpected US strikes on Iranian nuclear sites, Indian bond yields and the rupee are anticipated to weaken. The 10-year government security yield is expected to rise, while the rupee may depreciate to around Rs 86.80 per US dollar. Rising crude oil prices, exacerbated by potential Strait of Hormuz disruptions, pose inflationary risks for India. The Reserve Bank of India is taking a much closer look at bank board deliberations and may issue directives to improve governance practices. The central bank's senior supervisory managers were asking questions on the agenda presented to boards, the time spent discussing specific items, and observations made by independent directors. Variances in board meeting audio recordings, if any, and the minutes presented are also being looked into. Tata Motors plans to regain 50% electric vehicle market share with extended range models, price parity, and nationwide expansion. Upcoming bespoke and Avinya EVs plus a Rs 16,000 crore investment aim to counter rising competition and redefine Tata's EV strategy in India's evolving auto market. India-US trade deal faces hurdles as India resists lower duty imports of US agricultural products, fearing impact on farmers and GM food concerns. The July 9th deadline looms, with potential 26% levies for domestic industry. Disagreements persist over tariffs, market access for GM crops, medical devices, and data localization, hindering progress towards an agreement. The Securities and Exchange Board of India has issued a consultation paper proposing a regulatory framework for the responsible usage of artificial intelligence and machine learning tools in the Indian securities markets. This initiative reflects SEBI's proactive approach in addressing the ethical and operational challenges posed by emerging technologies. Stakeholders are encouraged to provide feedback and suggestions, which will be considered before finalizing the guidelines. The move aligns India's regulatory landscape with global best practices in AI governance in financial markets. PhonePe, India's leading digital payments platform and a subsidiary of Walmart Inc., is preparing to file for an initial public offering that could raise up to $1.5 billion. The move would value the fintech firm at approximately $15 billion. The fintech aims to submit its draft red herring prospectus, a preliminary filing required by Indian regulators, by early August. However, the plan remains fluid and subject to change, as the discussions are still ongoing. Waaree Renewable Technologies has signed a non-binding memorandum of understanding with Vietnam-based Viet Khana Joint Stock Company. As per the MOU, Waaree will undertake engineering, procurement and construction work for a 100 megawatt ground mounting solar power project. The company will execute the project on a turnkey basis, meaning it will handle the entire process from design to commissioning. The Institute of Chartered Accountants of India has officially released the eligibility criteria and application requirements for candidates appearing in the foundation and intermediate examinations scheduled for September 2025. Students are strongly advised to verify their status on the self-service portal and ensure compliance with all prerequisites before attempting to fill the exam form. The National Payments Corporation of India has introduced a new real-time PAN and bank account validation facility on the income tax e-filing portal. The initiative is expected to streamline tax refund processing and bolster the accuracy of taxpayer data verification. This software integration enables seamless communication between the income tax department's systems and banks, ensuring secure and automatic validation of essential taxpayer details. The Competition Commission of India has approved Alpha Wave Ventures 2 LP and Alpha Wave IHCCI LP's acquisition of equity in Haldiram Snacks Food Private Limited. This follows Haldiram's confirmation on March 31st of selling stake to IHC and Alpha Wave Global. The announcement came after Temasek, a Singapore-based investment firm, acquired a minority stake. Global electric vehicle giants can now apply for the scheme to promote manufacturing of electric passenger cars in India, which offers significantly lower import tax for automakers that pledge to invest in domestic electric vehicle production. Union Heavy Industries Minister H.D. Kumaraswamy inaugurated the portal for accepting applications under the scheme, which will remain open till October 21st. 4 to 5 auto firms have shown preliminary interest in the scheme. However, it remains to be seen how many companies actually apply for it, as the portal has been opened from Tuesday. Tata Consultancy Services is investing over Rs 4,500 crore to expand its infrastructure across India, including new campuses and office spaces in key cities like Bengaluru, Kolkata, and Kochi. This expansion aligns with TCS' anticipated headcount growth and strong financial performance, signaling confidence in India's talent ecosystem and delivery capabilities. Danish pharma giant Novo Nordisk is preparing for a major push in India with its blockbuster weight loss drug Wegovy or semaglutide. The company is targeting sales of $1 billion in the next 5 to 7 years. If Novo Nordisk achieves its sales target, Wegovy will become the top-selling prescription drug in India. Currently, MSD India's anti-cancer drug Keytruda holds the number 1 spot, with annual sales of over Rs 1,600 crore. Globally, Wegovy recorded $8 billion in sales last year, while Ozempic, the same drug approved for diabetes, earned $17 billion. In India, Novo Nordisk already holds a 62% market share in the Rs 4,943 crore insulin segment. The Reserve Bank of India's move to lower priority sector lending target for small finance banks is expected to free up around Rs 41,000 crore that could be redeployed into lending to low-risk segments like housing. The number equals about 15% of advances of small finance banks' balance sheets as on March 31st, 2025. The Telangana High Court's recent ruling that the National Financial Reporting Authority or NFRA can investigate chartered accountants for audits conducted before its formation in October 2018 would strengthen hands of the regulator. The order make it clear that the NFRA could take definitive action against errant auditors even in past cases. However, the ruling prevents the NFRA from imposing penalties higher than those prescribed in the period when the lapse occurred. Businesses in India want simpler GST and fewer tax slabs. A Deloitte survey reveals that sectors like healthcare seek rate rationalization. Most companies now trust the GST system. They find interstate trade easier due to e-way bills. Digitalization and responsive tax policies drive this confidence. Companies benefit from input tax credit and standardized processes. For the past 2 months, China has ceased exporting specialty fertilizers crucial for enhancing the production of fruits and vegetables to India, despite continuing shipments to other countries. This halt, impacting India's reliance on China for 80% of these chemicals, is attributed to inspections and procedural delays imposed by the Chinese government, raising concerns about potential retaliatory measures. Reliance Brands, the luxury retail arm of Reliance Retail, is merging its operations with its parent company as Reliance Retail prepares for a potential listing. This consolidation aims to streamline operations, eliminate redundancies, and improve efficiency across its retail business. The Finance Ministry is likely to amend the Income Tax Bill 2025 to restore the deductions for intercorporate dividends for companies opting for the 22% concessional tax regime. The move is linked to stakeholder raising concerns about the omission, leading to double taxation. Mukesh Ambani and Gautam Adani, the country's two biggest business tycoons, on Wednesday announced a partnership for fuel retailing to leverage each other's filling station networks. This is the second business collaboration between the two groups after Reliance acquired stake in an Adani power project in Madhya Pradesh last year. Under the pact, select fuel outlets of Adani Total Gas will sell GeoBP's high-performance petrol and diesel, and its CNG dispensing units will be installed at the latter's fuel outlets. The agreement covers both existing and future outlets of both partners. Taiwanese electronics giant Hon Hai Precision Industry Co., popularly known as Foxconn, has secured regulatory approval for two of its investment plans worth more than $2.2 billion in India and the US. The regulators have cleared a $1.49 billion investment proposal aimed at increasing capital in Foxconn Singapore Pte Limited, a subsidiary of the company. This Singapore-based unit will in turn invest the funds into Yuan Technology India Private Limited, another entity under Foxconn's subsidiary operating in India. JSW Paints will acquire Akzo Nobel's India business for Rs 12,000 crore. This deal will make JSW Paints the fourth largest paint maker in India. JSW will acquire a 75% stake in Akzo Nobel India. The acquisition will trigger an open offer for a 26% stake from minority shareholders. Akzo Nobel India has a 7% market share in India. The CBDT has instructed Income Tax Department officials nationwide to apply due application of mind when issuing scrutiny notices to taxpayers. Queries must be relevant, specific, and justified, avoiding irrelevant questions. Region heads are tasked with supervising assessing officers to ensure compliance with these guidelines. Assessment unit heads will be directly responsible for the quality of notices and orders. The Securities and Exchange Board of India has released an updated master circular titled Registrars to an Issue and Share Transfer Agents. This initiative is aimed at consolidating all relevant circulars and guidelines issued by SEBI over time into a single comprehensive document. This user-friendly format is especially helpful for market participants, compliance officers, legal professionals, and other stakeholders working with registrars and transfer agents. The International Financial Services Centres Authority, or IFSCA, has issued amendments to the existing directions governing the operation of foreign currency accounts, or FCA, maintained by Indian resident individuals with IFSC banking units, or IBUs. These accounts are typically opened under the liberalized remittance schemes, or LRS, of the Reserve Bank of India. Under the amended norms, IBUs are now required to obtain a mandatory declaration from the resident individuals at the time of using funds from the FCA for financial activities in the IFSC. The Ministry of Finance has officially notified the Debts Recovery Tribunals and Debts Recovery Appellate Tribunals Electronic Filing Amendment Rules 2025, marking a significant shift towards digitization in the adjudication process under the financial recovery laws. Under the amended rules, it is now mandatory for applicants to file all pleadings related to specific provisions under the following legislations through electronic mode. Number 1. Recovery of Debts and Bankruptcy Act 1993, or the RDB Act. And number 2. Securitization and Reconstruction of Financial Assets and Enforcement of Security Interest Act 2002, or the SARFAESI Act. The 2025 amendment marks a progressive move by the Ministry towards a paperless adjudication system in the realm of financial recovery laws. L&T expands its global and domestic footprint in solar and battery storage projects, with 20 gigawatts in renewable EPC under execution. Focus areas include Saudi Arabia, UAE, Uzbekistan, and India. As demand grows, battery storage and hybrid projects are key to India's clean energy transition by 2030. The Indian IPO market experienced a robust week, with 5 IPOs collectively receiving bids exceeding Rs 1.85 lakh crore. HDB Financial's IPO stood out, attracting significant institutional interest and becoming the largest NBFC public issue since Zomato. Improved market sentiment fuels this IPO surge, with numerous companies preparing to enter the primary market, anticipating favorable subscriptions and listing gains. India's defense exports are set for a major boost. NATO's plan to increase defense spending creates a big opportunity. Indian companies like Reliance Defence are already securing deals with European firms. This surge is driven by India's growing manufacturing capabilities and strategic partnerships. The government aims for Rs 50,000 crore in defense exports by 2029. As more and more horror stories pour out of India's quick commerce dark store landscape, major consumer goods companies are urgently seeking to take back some control of the narrative in order to curb reputational harm to their businesses. In light of recent food safety violations linked to dark stores operated by quick commerce platforms, several prominent brands have begun taking proactive measures. Torrent Pharmaceuticals is in advanced negotiations to acquire JB Chemicals and Pharmaceuticals from America-based private equity firm KKR & Co. The Ahmedabad-based drug maker is looking to consolidate its presence in the domestic pharmaceutical market. KKR & Co. owns 47.84% in JB Chemicals, and any transaction will trigger a mandatory open offer for public shareholders under takeover regulations. The Central Board of Direct Taxes, or CBDT, has issued a directive relaxing the time limit for processing valid income tax returns that were filed electronically following condonation of delay under Section 119 subsection 2 clause B of the Income Tax Act 1961. As per the directive, the intimation under section 143 subsection 1 for such returns must be sent to concerned assessee by 31st March 2026. This extended window provides ample time for the Income Tax Department to process eligible returns and address pending refund claims. The Securities and Exchange Board of India has amended the SEBI Certification of Associated Persons in the Securities Markets Regulations 2007, introducing mandatory certification requirements for key investment team members of alternative investment funds or AIFs. As per the amendment, at least one key personnel in the manager's key investment team of such AIFs must hold valid certification from the National Institute of Securities Markets or NISM. This podcast is sponsored by Sound of CA. We share because we care. Vande Mataram, Jai Hind.